You ever have one of those days where you think, well, I guess this is the day I get arrested for trespassing in my own damn house? Yeah, that happened to me once. But let me back up a sec, because honestly, that was just the cherry on top of the whole cake of insanity that is my life. If you think your neighbors are bad, just wait till you hear about mine. So picture this. I've just moved into what I thought was my dream neighborhood. Clean lawns, friendly faces, and a homeowners association that at first glance seemed as harmless as a golden retriever puppy. My wife and I both have stressful jobs. She's a nurse, I'm a detective. All we really want is to come home, crack open a cold one, and maybe binge watch some bad TV without the world coming down around our ears. But you know how it goes. As soon as you start to relax, that's when the universe cues up the circus music. First, it was the new HOA president. Let's call him Brad, because of course it's Brad. He's that guy who retired too early and now has way too much time to patrol the neighborhood with a clipboard and a superiority complex. Within the first month, he'd flagged us for things I didn't even know could be violations. Garage door too weathered. Wildflowers, not community standard. American flag wrong size. Even my doormat was a problem. Apparently, blue is an act of aggression in this neighborhood. But you try to be a team player, right? I sanded and painted the garage. Ripped out my wife's beloved butterfly garden. R.I.P. little guys. Got a drab brown doormat that looked like it belonged outside a morgue. All for the sake of peace. But the notices kept piling up like junk mail you can't bring yourself to throw away. Then the real kicker, a certified letter, never a good sign, saying my tiny security camera was an unauthorized alteration. Remove it, pay a fine, or face legal action. I laughed at first. I mean, I'm a cop. I know the law better than some retired HOA hall monitor. Right, I responded politely but firmly, quoting statutes and homeowner rights. I thought that would shut it down. Wrong. I got another letter, this one from an actual lawyer threatening to slap a lien on my house, which, by the way, was the first time I realized Brad was not just bored, he was unhinged. Now let's just say the detective in me started to tingle. I did what any good officer would do, dug deep. I pulled the HOA bylaws, state laws, even checked up on the lawyer, found out his firm had more complaints than a DMV at lunchtime. Turns out Brad had been run out of his old neighborhood for harassment and power trips. Guy had a whole history, and this law firm sanctioned for sketchy billing twice. But here's where the story takes a turn. I started talking to my neighbors. Turns out it wasn't just me. Brad was running a one-man campaign of terror bogus fines for non-standard house number fonts, threats over sidewalk cracks, even a case about a teenager's car being in the driveway too long. People were afraid to leave their porch lights on. So I figured if Brad wanted a war, he'd get one, but by the book. I buried them in paperwork. Demanded official documentation for every alleged violation, copies of board minutes, proof the committees actually existed, certified mail triplicate forms, all the bureaucracy they claim to love. I filed for a formal hearing, and I requested, no demanded, that it be recorded and run by actual legal procedure. And yeah, I showed up in full-dress uniform. Badge gun folder of evidence thicker than a phone book. Brad and his lawyer looked like they'd seen a ghost. The meeting was awkward, to put it mildly. I politely went point by point, explaining how their notices were illegal. Their fines had never been approved by a real board, and oh, by the way, threatening legal action under false pretenses was technically extortion. I tossed out the word RICO just to see the lawyer sweat. Then I dropped the bomb. The board president, Brad, had used HOA funds for these personal vendettas, never got approval, and had pretty much been embezzling from the community. I had paperwork, bank records, the works. Silence. The lawyer bailed the board, started whispering furiously, and Brad just stared at the floor like a kid caught shoplifting candy. I told them as a cop I'm required to report crimes, so I'd be forwarding everything to the DA, the state attorney general, and just for fun, the FBI, because, mail fraud. Within a week, Brad was gone, moved out. The HOA issued a groveling apology letter, withdrew every violation, and reimbursed all the fines they'd stolen from people. The new board, actual adults, this time went through the bylaws and rewrote everything. My wife got her butterfly garden back, the neighbors put in veggie gardens and solar panels, and no one ever got hassled for their doormats again. But you know what? The best part wasn't the apology or even watching Brad's moving truck pull away. It was when a bunch of my neighbors filed a class action and actually won. Insurance payout split between everyone who'd been wronged. The HOA lawyer got suspended. I'll admit I cracked a cold one that day and just stood in my yard soaking it in. Never saw a neighborhood come together so fast after all. Nothing brings people together like a shared enemy, right? Sometimes I'll cruise by in my patrol car just to remind everyone that some rules are more important than others. And that's the thing about bullies, give them enough rope and they'll hang themselves every time. So tell me, where do you draw the line between following the rules and standing up for yourself? Ever had to take on a bully HOA boss or otherwise and come out the other side? Drop your wildest story in the comments. Let's see who really has the worst neighbor or the best revenge. And if you're out there, Brad, thanks for the free garden gnomes.